Thank you very much for the kind introduction. I was really blessed from yesterday's presentations. After Pastor Goa, I don't know how to pronounce it, Goya, after he presented, I was just thinking, I think we can go home. I was ready to go home. Can you hear me? Oh, thank you very much. I'm grateful that today I'll be speaking to you about a topic that is very close to my heart. Retirement, planning, preparing for retirement. But here we are not just talking about planning to leave your job or planning to leave your employment, but we are talking about having a fulfilling retirement, having and living a fulfilling life. Do we have anybody who is still employed here in our midst? At least to have an idea of who am I speaking to. Can you raise your hands, those who are still employed? There's nothing wrong, I just need to know who is here. Okay. Oh, so the rest of us were self-employed. So the rest of us are already employed in retirement. Oh, thank you very much. At least now we have a lot of people that we can look up to, because all the people that are here, they are so full of life. So those of you who are still employed, there's still hope for you. You can see from your colleagues. It has been said that the two most dangerous days in your life are the day you are born and the day you retire. Because everything in your life, or everything that you know about your life, literally changes. You would have been living your life of employment for a very long time, and that's the kind of life you've known for 20 years, 30 years, and then one day you wake up, you don't have a place to go to work, with somebody to direct you, with somebody to help push their strategy. And despite that it's such a life-changing event, people don't take time to plan for it. People don't take time to think about it. We just take it that, okay, I'll stop work on Friday, and then on Monday it will be business as usual. Life will just go on, but there's a lot that changes in your life. But most of the time when we talk about retirement planning, we concentrate on the financial aspect of it. But there's more to retirement than just the finances. And as somebody has said, retirement is not a financial event. It's a life event. So today we will look at some of the areas that we need to consider as we plan for retirement. These are some of the topics that we will look at. What retirement is, how your career will change, how it may affect your health, or how your health might affect your retirement, how your relationships might affect your retirement, and how your retirement might affect your relationships. These are some of the areas that will be affected by your retirement. In the past, we used to define retirement as, just an action of leaving one's job and ceasing to work. We used to think that retirement is just, one long rest. When you ask people, when they tell you that they're going to retire, you ask them, so what are you going to do? Somebody will say, well, I've been working for many years, so now I'm going to rest. Okay, you will rest. So after resting, what are you going to do? No, I've worked for many years. I'm going to rest. But you rest in order to rejuvenate and do something. So as you plan for your retirement, you need to be planning, what is it that I'm going to do after the rest? And the longest that you can take that rest, I can assure you, it cannot be more than 3 months. It cannot be more than 3 months. Actually, some people who have retired are saying 3 months is just too long. Some couldn't take it for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they see that, no, we can't be resting forever. You have to do something. You have to get a life. Now, in the new retirement, what is the definition of the new retirement? We are just saying, it's the time to follow your dream. That's all that it is. Following your dream. Doing that which you love most for most of the day for the rest of your life. Isn't it wonderful? Can you talk to me? You don't sound like you believe it. But the people who are retiring now, this is what they want. They're saying they want to find a purpose. They want to find a balance in their life. They don't just want to rest forever. And the good thing about it is that we are different. Each one of us is made up differently, different personality, different background. And therefore, there's no one right way to retire. If you want to retire and you want to do something, that is not the standard for everybody. If you want to retire and you want to continue with your literature evangelism, that is what you want. But you cannot blame somebody else who wants to do something different. As you are working, your job provides you with certain benefits, some obvious and some not obvious. And these benefits, you would have gotten them for a very long time, such that you now take them for granted and you think everybody is getting them. The first one that we can think of is, in your job, you get financial compensation. You get an income out of your job. You would have gotten so used to that income, and the income that you are getting influences the level and the kind of the lifestyle that you are living. So then, as you plan for your retirement, you need to be thinking, if for a certain amount that I am used to, I am now living a certain lifestyle in the absence of my job, how am I going to maintain the lifestyle that I am living now? Because of that income, you know that there are certain things that you can afford. You know that even as you get your raises, your salary is increased, your commission is increased. It also improves your lifestyle. Therefore, you need to be planning also, how are you going to replace the income that you are getting in order for you to be able to maintain the kind of lifestyle that you have now. The other thing that sometimes is not so obvious about your job is that it provides you with your identity, who you are. Even as you introduce yourself, you tell people who you are. I am so and so, the literature evangelist. Or where you are working, I am chief this and this. I am principal this and this. I am president of this and this. I am the chief financial officer. You have gotten so used to a title following your name, such that you now, as you plan, you need to be thinking, without this job, who am I? How do I introduce myself? Who do people say I am? Jesus also asked the question at some point. Who do people say I am? Currently, you know what they say you are. Without your job, who will they say you are? Your job also provides you with a status, a position. When you are hired, you are given a position. And in organizations, positions mean hierarchy. When somebody is introduced in your organization and their title or their position is mentioned, immediately, automatically, you can relate. You are able to place this person in the hierarchy. Whether this person is above you, how many levels above you, are they at par with you, are they below you? If they're below you, how many levels down are they? And that will determine the way you are going to relate with that person. That is true. And we don't treat people the same based on their positions. You treat a CEO differently from the way you treat the cleaning lady, the janitor. When they get into your office, you behave differently based on their position. The other thing that your job provides you is a sense of purpose, a sense of usefulness. You wake up in the morning, you know what you are going to do, you know how much or how you're going to contribute to your organization, you know how you're going to contribute to the economy. And that gives you a reason to wake up. You wake up knowing that today I'll be doing this and this and this so that I can contribute in such and such a way. Now, without your employer, what would be your reason to wake up in the morning? What will you be waking up to do? What will be your purpose? You say you are an accountant. That's what you do. That is your usefulness at the moment. Now, without your employer, what will be your purpose? The other thing that your job provides you is time management. In a week that has 7 days, most of you are working for 5 days. So basically, 5 days belong to the employer. You are only responsible for 2 days. And you have a lot of things that you have to do in your 2 days. Even when you have to take leave for you to do your personal stuff, you still have to consult the schedules of your workplace, when the departmental meeting will be. So your life basically revolves around your employer. Then one day you retire, you wake up, you find that you have to manage all the 7 days. And retirement is one very long weekend. So you need to plan for it. Just as you've been planning for the 2 days, now you need to plan for the 7. Because if you don't do that, you'll find that you're going to find yourself being stressed, developing your high blood pressure, your diabetes, your depression, and all others. And then you deteriorate, you don't live long, and then people will start saying, I'm afraid of this retirement. When people retire, they die quickly. So how can you avoid that? In order for you to avoid that, you need to plan then for a fulfilling retirement. You need to consider, how are you going to fill your time in a fulfilling manner? The other thing that your job provides you with is socialization. Your job provides you with a social structure. The people that you meet at work, your colleagues, these are the people that you most of the time socialize with. Your counterparts in other organizations. Your employer provides opportunities for you to meet people like we are meeting today at such a conference, at such a congress. These are opportunities that most of the time are created by your employer. So you then need to find how then are you going to make up for a social structure. When you get to retirement, you're not going to find a ready-made social structure, so you need to create it. So what options do you have as you plan to leave your work? You can plan for a full-time work in the same field or in a different field. You can plan for part-time work in the same field or in a different field. You can plan for self-employment, having your own business. That's still an option. You can plan for volunteer work. If you believe you've saved enough, you can just get on a voluntary spree. Or you can have a mix of both volunteer work and paid work, or volunteer work and a business. That is still acceptable. That's an option. Those are options that you have. But in whatever option that you choose, please make sure that you are relevant. You need to know what are the requirements that are needed for that which you want to do. Whether you want to be employed, then you need to know in the market what are the qualifications that are needed in order for me to be employed again. If you want to start a business, you need to know the kind of business that you want to start and to know what the requirements are. Whether there are accreditations that you need to have, the registrations, the permits, all those things that are needed in order for you to be able to set up. And as much as possible, start before you retire. Start setting up and even implementing before you retire, so that by the time you leave the office, you know what works and what doesn't work. Because something that you might be thinking of, you find that when you get to retirement, you find that you are no longer interested in that. But had you started earlier on, you would have an idea of whether you want to do that or not. The other area that we look at is health. We want to thrive in our retirement. And your health, just as it affects the quality of your life, it will have a way of affecting also the quality of your retirement. So the earlier you start on healthy practices now, the better. You are the ones who sell the books, which has the New Start and other things. We have been seeing the books being advertised here. So we really don't have a reason of not getting into retirement when we are healthy. When we look at, still on the health aspect, we need to be looking at also whether you want to get into to continue with the private health system if you are on the private health system, or you want to get into a public health system. Your medical aid, your medical insurance, you need to be planning for those. The relationships that we are in, they also will have a way of affecting your retirement. So here we are appreciating that even though if it's one person who is retiring in the family, there are people who are likely to be affected by this person's retirement. So you need to sit down and plan who is likely to be affected by my retirement and how. You also need to note who is likely to affect my retirement and how. So basically we are saying you need to consider who your stakeholders are. We had talked about your job providing you with socialization, with a social structure. Because your relationship with your spouse, with your partner is likely to change, is likely to be affected by your retirement. You are now going to spend more time together. But it's possible that as you were working, you didn't spend time together. So now you get into retirement, you wake up, you find that there's this stranger that I have to spend the whole day with. So that can be a cause of a problem. And that is why sometimes you will find divorces of people in their 60s, in their 70s. You wonder what happened. Retirement happened. Your relationship with your children, your friends, is also likely to be affected. And it is important that as you plan for your retirement, you need to be planning on where you want to stay. Where will your primary residence be? Because some of you will be spending time in all places except the place where you say you are going to retire. You build the big house there at home in the village. Maybe you go there once a year, you renovate, and then you come back. But that is where you say you are going to spend the rest of your life there. Do you know the people there? Do you know the kind of life that you are planning for? Do you know the conversations that you are going to take with those people? Because you're going to miss speaking English. You're going to miss having intelligent conversations. So brace yourself for whatever social life that you are planning for. So as much as possible, take time to go and stay there. 2 weeks, get to know, and come back and reflect and see, is this the kind of life that I want? Personal development. Now, we appreciate that as you are working, you are growing in the areas that your employer wants you to grow in, not necessarily the areas that you say you want to grow in. So retirement is a time for you to reflect on the areas that you want to grow in. When you were still growing, or even now, when you ask a small child, you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? They can easily tell you what they want to be. Now, as you plan for your retirement, you also need to be asking yourself this question: what do I want to be when I grow up? When you see yourself in the future, what is your future self doing that they are thriving in. What kind of life do you want to pursue? What is your purpose? This is the time now to reflect on your giftedness. Identifying your gifts. Because this is now without the direction of an employer. You are now depending on your purpose to guide you henceforth. This is the time to grow the way that you want. This is the time to read the books that you believe will help you in your personal development. Not because it's the strategy of an employer. And education is not necessarily getting a qualification. But we have talked about qualifications depending on what you want to do. If you need to get a qualification, you need to work towards that. Education, you can get it through the internet, through networking, the social associations that you get. You need to associate with people that will help you grow. Not just associate for the sake of association. You need to know what's the value add of each and every person that you deal with, that you spend most of your time with. The financial aspect of it is now when you have planned for your lifestyle, you cost each and every area, and then you come up with a financial plan. And money is a very emotional thing. When you have it, there are certain feelings that you have. When you don't have it, there are certain feelings that you have. So your perception about money will influence how you're going to live in your retirement. So it is important, and we always advise that you should get in as you plan for your retirement, you need to get in touch with a financial advisor so that they help you to plan financially. But you need to know what you want to achieve so that they can help you to reach the goals that you want to achieve. We give such information on the lifestyle so that you are the one who will go out to look for people or for professionals that will help you achieve that you want, and not do things out of fear. Now, God has promised that He will not leave us alone. And as you plan for your retirement, He says, "For I know the plans I have for you. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." So as you plan for your retirement, know that God is with you. Do not despair. You might have seen people in the future, in the past, who might not have made it, but with your God, with prayer and planning and understanding, He will guide you. So it is my hope and my prayer that God will guide you in your retirement. All right. So those who will need to contact us here for your questions, here are our contacts. Thank you very much.